Hey everybody, Jake Burns with JBCI here. This is our 4th episode on this series of construction. The most important video, this is our closeout. We need to go through all the jurisdictions of the building department, the health department, landlord closeout, and owner closeout. Before we can even call for the building inspector to come out here, we got to make sure that our plumbing has a final, our electrical is final, our mechanical is final. All of the fire department jurisdictions have been final with the fire sprinklers, the fire alarm, walking all the fire extinguishers. We've got to make sure all that's in order before we even get the final building inspector out there. Making sure your egress is correct, making sure that you're all ADA compliant, your emergency lights work, all your counters are at the right height, all your doors have the proper less than 5 pounds of pressure, your door handles are right. They're going to be checking for all this stuff. You want to do your own list, making sure that everything's ready because these inspectors are sharp. That's all they're looking for. You got to call the city, make sure there's a closeout paperwork. Every city has their own amendments, their own rules that you need to abide by. Once the building inspector comes out here and signs off, they don't come back, so they want to ensure that everything's correct. You got to check your parking lot, even if you're not even building in the parking lot. Making sure you got your truncated domes, making sure that you got proper ramps, making sure that your ADA stalls are correct, even if they're existing. If we built over 300 restaurants, we've seen it all. Every time that the inspector will come up with something that stops us from getting a final building, normally doesn't have anything to do with our actual construction TI permit. So we need to make sure that we got a proper list and we go through everything so that when the inspector comes here, we're prepared. Our final health inspection, which is our only inspection. So the thing about the health department, they don't come until the very end. So you gotta make sure that you nail it. You gotta make sure that you get it done right. So when the health department comes in, they're gonna be looking for temperatures. So making sure that your freezers at 0 degrees, your walk-in coolers at 34 degrees, all your reefers are at 34 degrees. You got hot water at every sink at 120, at your labs and your restroom at 105. Making sure you got an air curtain. The air curtain actually turns on when the door opens. It shuts off when the door's self-closed. You got your mop sink with all the cold base around it, janitor's rack, chemical shelf. Make sure that you use the exact spec that's on your approved health plans, matching that water heater. It's the #1 thing they look for. All your doors are self-closing. All your air gaps for all your floor sinks are at least 1 inch. You got your 32 linear feet of metro shelving. You got your soap dispensers, your paper towel dispensers, your toilet paper dispensers. Have all that ready to go. 3-compartment sink. Know your wash, rinse, sanitize order. They're gonna ask you. Making sure you got splash guards at all your sinks. 6-inch, 3/8 cove, base cove. All your flashing, all your gaps are sealed up. You got shatterproof light fixtures above any working surface. Check all your equipment, make sure it matches the plans. Make sure all your equipment has NSF, ETL approval with the actual sticker, not the paperwork. If it doesn't have it, get it out of here. Health department is sharp. They will check every single piece of equipment you have. Print out all the specs of all the equipment. Have it here for the inspector. Check your self-closing windows. Making sure you got your vacuum breakers on your mop sink. You got check valves at the proper equipment. And last but not least, make sure you got all your owner paperwork ready to go. The owners aren't gonna know the paperwork. We've got a list that we send out. Articles of incorporation, seller's permit, business license, having a menu, having a list of commands with contact information, buying that up with a nice cover sheet with your equipment specs. When the inspector gets here, you can hand that to them. Make your store look exactly like the plans. They want to walk into a space and not have changes. Even if the owner's going to move a shelf here or there afterwards, put it just like the plans. Make their job easy. All right, when we're dealing with the health department, it's different than dealing with the city. The city, you're dealing with codes. The health department, they have their standards, but also they have personality. So they still will find something. This is a list that we've come up with. We built over 300 restaurants. In my experience with the health department, just do whatever they say. They hold all the cards, but if you get it down to this list, you will find that it's going to be very minor. Those minor situations can get taken care of with pictures and email, and you'll get your health final, and that's important to the client. Getting their food, being able to train in this facility, and that will get you through the health department. One thing when closing out a project that's normally never considered is closing out with the landlord. A lot of times, I'll say most of the time, the landlord is giving tenant allowance for construction to our customer. It's very important to the customer that they get that money. The landlord will not advertise this closeout package. Prior to starting a project, we make a video of what the current space looks like. Everything outside, everything inside. We email that video to the landlord, letting them know this is your current condition of the space. We don't want to get hit with some concrete that's cracked. We'll get blamed for everything. So you might as well document this. Ask them, is there any closeout paperwork you need? You don't want to be the GC with the loose end that's holding up all the tenant's money that's coming from the landlord. Walk the space with the landlord. Make it clear that you want to close out your project and you're going to be leaving this project. Is there anything that you need from us? Much easier to do when you're at your final stage of construction and my crew's already here. The landlord's not our customer, but it's important to the customer that this is closed out and they can receive their DI allowance. Also, it gives us an opportunity to impress the landlord. A lot of times we will do landlord improvements due to how well we perform our tenant improvement construction. Getting the landlord closeout package, some of the things that are gonna be in there that you gotta be prepared for. All the subs and vendors you pay for, make sure you get their unconditional releases. Getting an as-built plan, minor changes that got made during the project, get those redlined, get that over to the client. Document that. All your finishes on your exterior match the plans and the landlord approved plans. Your parking lot is cleared out. You're pressure washed. You leave the space in a better condition than you got here. Make sure they've saw everything. Any of their concerns, document and make sure that you handle it while you're still here. In closing out a project, the most important thing is making sure that your customer is happy. You want to make sure when you walk away here, there aren't loose ends. We create a list of everything that we feel needs to be done for this job to be 100%. We walk the job with the client. We show them our list and we walk each section. Any area that they have a concern in, we add to that list. We document that with pictures. We ask the client if there's anything further, please add to the list. We also want to ensure the client that we're only a phone call away. This location is our second location with this franchisee, our 27th Handel's Ice Cream. There's a reason why people call us back, because they can depend on us. And any concerns that they have, we ensure that they get addressed. The last thing we want to do is stress a client out with construction. That's our responsibility and that's our job. And when we leave this place, they don't have any doubt that we have left them with a perfectly functioning, beautiful, running restaurant that they can strive in their business. When we get to the final stages of construction, there's 1,000 small things to do. If you have a client that walks into a job site and they see all those things, they get overwhelmed. We've come up with a process to ensure that they see that we're on it. We go through wall by wall, floor by floor, ceiling by ceiling, and we mark everything out with blue tape. They see that we've addressed all these concerns. They see that their concerns are our concerns. They see that there are a lot of things to do, but they also see that we're on top of all those things to do. This is the time to not be in a rush and to leave the job site properly. Your approved plans from the building department, the fire department, the health department, all your city paperwork, your job card, business cards of the inspectors, deputy inspection reports, everything. We like to take all those documents, scan them in, email them to the client, keep the hard copies rolled up in a nice tube, and hide those things at the job site. We like to put them above the walk-in cooler, a space where the clients will call us 5, 10 years later. We can tell them exactly where it is. Also, we like to create a closeout box. That closeout box has all the specialty items for this job. Leftover swatches of all the paint, any specialty base. Sometimes they don't make this stuff anymore. It's good to have a handful of every single piece of material left in a box for the client. Owner's manual for all your equipment, fixture manuals. These items can be very useful in the future. Everybody gets excited at the end. The owners get to open, the business gets running, but it's important to close this out properly. Thanks again for watching. If you like this, please give us a like and follow us. We got more videos to come.